if you're not already using the Canva app, you're missing out a ton. Whether you're creating an IG story or graphic post, it makes publishing on social media so much faster. Let me show you how to use it and what to use it for, and you can start downloading the app now because by the end of this video, you want to start creating straight away. Ready? Let's do this. Hi my lovely people, it's Natalia and welcome back to my channel where I share super actionable ideas on content creation for entrepreneurs and creatives. And since you asked for another Canva tutorial, I'm bringing you one of my favorite ways to create content efficiently, be prepared for whenever I have to design on the go, and keep my branding in place at the same time. And in this Canva tutorial, I'll show you step by step how to use the Canva app on iPhone to create graphics and images using a mobile device for free. And if you happen to be a social media content creator as well, I'll share some useful tips to make the most of it too. And as a side note, I will be presenting the Canva app on iOS, but the Android version looks exactly the same, so you can follow the exact same process if you don't have an iPhone. I've used Samsung phones for years and loved Canva on it just as much. So without further ado, let's jump to the app. Alright, so now that we're on the Canva app homepage, there are a few things that I want you to take a look at. So first of all, we have the search bar at the very top. This is for you when you want to search for something in particular. Then underneath that, you have the panel with all the different options. So if you're looking for social media templates, if you're trying to find a presentation template, this is where you would go and you can just scroll through these to find something for a unique use. Now, below that, Canva already suggests certain templates, and of course we are on mobile, so Canva will present to you the most popular options. So you have your Instagram posts, you have your stories, posters, photo collages and things of that nature, but you have the you might want to try section, and in there you have mobile video, you have your story, logo, social media, all these kinds of things that you might want to produce on the go. So in the bottom panel, you have a few different buttons. First of all, you've got the home page. So wherever else you are, you'll always be able to quickly access the home page. Then you have your designs, and that is your way to quickly access anything you've designed previously. You can scroll through it, and at the very top, you also have a magnifying glass, which will help you search for something, which is a very exciting development from Canva, because before you couldn't really search for your designs, and it would be a pain to scroll through all of the different previous designs that you might have created before. The next tab is your Canva Pro tab. It's not really something that you need to use, but if you're just starting out with Canva Pro, you will be able to set up your brand kit from here or schedule posts, things of that nature. By the way, if you'd like to use Canva Pro for 30 days for free, check out the link in the description box. Now, from the menu tab, you can access all the different controls for your account. You can change the settings, you can view recent designs, you can see what people shared with you if you're working on a collaborative project. You have your brand kit, which is a pro account version, content planner as well, Canva Pro, and you can access all your different folders that you might have set up on Canva desktop. You have your trash if you want to access something that you've accidentally deleted. That is a great way to access anything that you cannot really find at a glance from the homepage. Now, back to the homepage, the next thing we want to do is to go straight to the editor, and there are a few ways that you can start designing. First is to click on any of those templates that Canva suggests to you straight away. Then the other way, you can click on that little plus sign in the bottom corner, and then if you click on it, you'll see all the different templates that are suggested by Canva, but you can also edit using a photo. So if you have something that you want to edit around, add some elements to, you can just choose that option. And the other one is custom size. So if you're looking for something with particular dimensions, this is where you would enter it. And let me show you that option. So you have some recent ones from me that I've designed. You can just enter your width and height. You can change the dimensions from pixels to inches to millimeters and to centimeters, but I'm going to go back and actually just tap on that Instagram story. You have all the different templates from here, but I'll start with a blank one because for the first one, I'm going to be creating a backdrop for my different stories. And now Canva opened a new design for me, and straight away it's trying to present me with some templates because I'm creating from a blank. So I can just scroll down and that will open my blank page. And the first thing I want to discuss in the editor is the top panel. If you want to quickly go back to your home page, you need to click on that home button in here. Any changes that you want to undo or redo, you'll use those little arrows at the top as well. And to your right, starting from the very right, you have the panels for saving and different options. We'll discuss that in a moment. You have the downloading button, so it downloads it straight away as a default. and then you have all the different options for that particular design. So I'll start off with actually editing the name, and you will do it by just tapping on that little pencil in here. So I've changed that name to IG Story Backdrop. Again, I would highly recommend you change all the names for your designs, because if all of them are untitled, it will be that much harder for you to search through them. And now from that panel, you have the option to change the view. You can show margins, which I mentioned a moment ago. You can show print bleed if you're preparing your design for printing. You can switch brand kit if you have multiple ones set up in here. You can save to folder. You can view all the comments, again, if you're working and collaborating on a specific project. You can share it from here as well. I'll hit done. I'll go back to the design and we can start. So the first thing I want to show you is how to add different elements to your design. And to do that, we need to go to the plus button, and that opens up what we would see on the desktop in the left panel. So we would see all the templates at the bottom, you see all the elements, you see your camera roll, so it accesses, if you allow it to access your camera roll, this is where you'll be able to see it. Then you have your upload, so anything you've uploaded either from desktop or you are uploading from your phone at the moment, this will all end up in the upload stub. Then you've got your text, so any text that you want to add or use some of the setup templates or some suggested typography from Canva. This is a great option for it. You have your styles, all your designs from here as well. And apart from that, you can access your logos. You have the more tabs, so you'll be able to access all the different integrations from here. Now, I want to start by changing the backdrop of my design. And the reason for that is because I want something blank, something maybe with a bit of texture to showcase anything that I'm adding. If I'm using any IG stickers, if I'm adding some questions to it, if I'm playing some fun games with my audience, this is what I need. I just need something plain so that it doesn't really compete with anything that I'm putting on the screen. So in order to do that, you need to tap on that background, and immediately a blue line will appear around it. That will be the outline, and that indicates to you that this element is selected. Now, the next thing we want to do, first we can either choose replace, which will replace the background, so that will introduce a photo, let's say, or a graphic from your role. Then you can change the color, and I have my brand kit in here. I can change to my brand blue. If you're looking for something specific, if you have hex codes available, this is how you can change them. And now another recent development from Canva, which has been rolled out to everyone, is the color picker. The color picker is honestly a lifesaver. We've missed that function in Canva for a really, really long time, but now it's available to you. So if you're trying to pick a color from a particular image, use that color picker to pull that color from the image, and you're done. You can even save it. Just make sure that you have it in here and make sure you know you can use that color picker now. Of course, this is just a plain color. This can be created easily from within the Instagram app. So how do we make it more interesting? If you click that plus sign down below again, you have some different lines and shapes that you can use, or you can search for a particular element. And in that case, I'm going to go for a blob. This is something that I go for more often than I should probably. So I'm just going to choose, let's say, that blob, and you can see that it's selected immediately from here. And now what I want to do to it is to change the color. I'm going to go for a lighter tone. So let's stretch it out a little bit, just like that. I can use my 2 fingers to do it. And once you have it in place, we can go for another blob. Let's start searching through some other ones. I like this one, let's say. So let's rotate this one a little bit. And now our intuitive way of trying to rotate would be to kind of catch it with 2 fingers and try to rotate it this way. This is not how you do it in the Canva app. What you need to use is that little button at the bottom, which appears whenever you have that element selected. So these 2 arrows indicate that you can rotate it. And this is what you need to touch in order to do that. So I'm going to move it up like this. Maybe let's stretch it out a little bit, just like that, to create that little kind of element. I'm not sure I fancy that one, so I might delete it. If you want to delete an element, you just go at the bottom in here and delete. Now let's try and duplicate that other one. So I've hit duplicate at the bottom just to recreate the same effect, maybe make it a bit more symmetrical, just like that. And I've rotated it like this, and this is my first panel. From here, how do you actually add another page to your design? Well, you could be looking for another plus sign, because that's how you do it on your desktop version. In order to do that, you can just swipe left and this pops up with another page, and it's got the same backdrop color set up already. So we can go from here and start adding some more blobs. and I'm scrolling and scrolling and I see some more kind of static elements, and maybe I want to find something that's more animated. So in order to do that, you can click this tab and that will open all the different filters. So if you're looking for a particular color, if you want a specific orientation, if you're looking for specific photos, if you want the type of animation, which this is what we're going for, this is what you want to select. So I'm going to select animated and go for apply filters, and you'll see all the different kind of waves in here, all the different elements that are moving, and they make your designs more dynamic. And of course, since you are using it on the stories, you have the ability to have more of a dynamic content. You can have more of a video style content, and at the end we will download it as an MP4, so you can easily add that as your backdrop just to make it a bit more interactive and interesting. Now, let's add some of the lines that I mentioned before. So this is something that I've definitely used before. So again, I can go down here, you have your white in here. This is how I've added some of the different graphics to my carousels before. I can kind of stretch it out. And now what I want to do, maybe this one fits my design, but if I wanted to shuffle the elements and see how they look when they're positioned differently, I can scroll down in here, go to position, and send it backwards. And this is your way of repositioning the different things. So from the panel down below, just go to position when you have that element selected. Now, let's say I want to maybe animate certain elements, just single elements. You can go to animate here and just make them kind of maybe rise for this one, maybe tumble. Yeah, let's try tumble. We'll tumble all the different elements, and you'll see that they'll appear at different times. And now I can maybe add another line. Let's search for magic recommendations, which are just some suggestions from Canva of similar elements that you can use. Let's say this one maybe. Let's change the color again to white. I'm just gonna stretch it out like this. Lovely, I like that one. Let's animate that one too. Make it tumble. Just like that, all of them appear at a different time. That's another way of adding that texture to your backdrops. And now I have a few options. Maybe I want to start designing from a previous page that I have. So in here in the bottom right corner, you can change to a thumbnail view, and this way you can actually duplicate certain pages. So you can select both of them, you can deselect one by just tapping on it, and if you hit duplicate, you can also change the order of it. So if you just drag it like this, you'll be able to pop it in different places. So I have that copy in here. Maybe I want to again flip it just to make sure that I have the kind of similar elements added. Flip horizontally, maybe flip vertically a little bit, and just add it like this. Yeah, that looks very similar, and I can start adding different elements from here as well. So you can have texture, let's say. I'll add texture in the graphics. I could maybe add that bit of a texture behind and make it that kind of light blue, just like that. See, it created a bit more of a unique texture to it. It just makes things a bit more interesting. So now that we have a few options, let me go back to that thumbnail view. From here, I can view just the 4 that I have. You could add a few more on top of that just to make your IG stories a bit more interesting. And again, on top of them, just add polls, add different things. So now if you want to go up to download them, go to save as, and I'm going to change that to PNG. Again, we had those elements that were animated. If you want to keep them animated, make sure to download that one page that you used for animation in MP4 video, otherwise these elements will become static. So make sure to do it differently. I will go for a PNG like this, and then from the pages you can select all the different ones, or you can just select all of them as was the default. Now I'll hit done in here and hit download, and that's going to prepare my design. And of course in here you can just go to save images. On Android it will just straight away download them to your phone and you'll be sorted. Now what I tend to do with those is to save them to a specific album, and this way whenever I go to my stories and I want to pull something that connects to my branding, I will just quickly search for it, change the album, and this way I have straight access to them without scrolling through masses and masses of different photos and elements that I have saved in my roll. Choose frames from here, and let's play a this or that game. Let's say I'm going to just choose that frame just like that. And in order to duplicate it, I just need to go down, duplicate it like this, and let's add some different photos. Now from here, I found a pancakes image that I like, and on the desktop version, if you wanted to add something to a frame, you would need to just drag that image over it, but in here, you don't really do it that way. What you want to do is to tap on that image just like this, and then from there, then drag it to the frame. Now I want to maybe crop it out a little bit more, make it a little bigger, just like that, and make that pancake really kind of more visible, just like this. And now, just to make sure that both these elements are the same, just going to drag it like this to make sure that the sizing is the same. Perfect, and I'm just going to go for waffles. Okay, so let's say these are the waffles that I want to use. Now I've added a pattern underneath just to make it interesting. I just searched for a pattern in the elements and found something that worked for me. Next, what I want to do is to add a bit of text so that it stands out a little bit more. And now I could use just a box to make sure that it's kind of showing that text properly, that text is not really kind of melting into the background. I can actually use that navy color in here. And now I'm just going to maybe make it a little bit smaller, just like that, let's say, or you can maybe go for this. All right, let's get it in here, and I can duplicate it so it's got the same, sort of the same size. And now I've got these two different text bars like that, and I can add some text over it. So again, go to that plus sign, go to text. Let's go for add a heading. I have my font selected, but I'll probably change it in a moment. And I can go for pancakes, again, make it a bit smaller. And I'm just going to change the color straight away just so I can see it properly. I'll go for that light blue in here. And you can see straight away Canva is showing you those different outlines so you can position your text correctly. But as you can see, that text box is actually a bit higher than the actual text. So when I'm dragging it to the center, it's not really showing me the center that it should be at. So I've shared in my Canva tips and tricks video that on desktop, you can just use your arrow keys to gently nudge the element in certain direction. But how do you actually do it on the app? Well, there is an easy way to do it. If you scroll down here, you'll go to nudge just like that, and you have the different arrows just as you would have the arrow keys, and you can just gently nudge it into place. And I think this is roughly the center of it, so I'm happy with the positioning. Maybe a little gentle nudge, just like that. Perfect. And I can just go back, duplicate that text. Maybe I'll drag the sides a little bit so they are more kind of in place, just like that. Perfect. Oh, I've just moved the element. And by the way, if that happens to you, you can just scroll down here. I have that element selected still. You can just go to lock and these stars won't move on me. So I can just move. I'll go to that duplicated text for pancakes. I'll change that to waffles. So go waffles. Again, I'll make the box a little bit smaller, just like that. And I'll nudge the waffles a little bit down. Brilliant, just like that. Perfect. So this is coming to life just right now. I could just use it like this. If you ever have trouble with designing around the sticker, because of course, if you're adding this to your stories, you will need to use that poll just so that your followers can actually vote on that story. So if you're finding it hard to design around it, just add a little rectangle in here. Let me show you how you can just quickly do it. I'll just add a square, let's say just like this, and I'll position it kind of in the center. So this shows me where the sticker would need to be put. Of course, if you want to, you can leave it like that and then save it, and that will make sure that you've got that poll kind of centered. But of course, on Instagram, when you're dragging that element, it will let you actually do it as well. So don't worry, I'm just going to delete that from here, and that's another panel sorted for me. Now you know how to add different elements, you know how to add photos or videos, both from your camera roll, from the uploads, or from the Canva library. Now, I want to show you a few different tips on how you can use Canva to make sure that you're kind of putting it to good use, and I have some really cool tricks to use them on your IG stories. So let's go back to the homepage, and I'm just going to go for an Instagram post just because I want something square. I'll show that to you in a moment. Now, what I like to do on Instagram stories to keep my followers a bit more engaged and maybe make them get to know me a little bit better is to show the plan for my day or list the different things that I've done. What you can do to have those different bullet points is to use different emojis, but what I like to do actually is have my custom bullet points done in Canva. And now what I'm going to do is to just go for a simple circle. This is my way of doing things. Of course, you can add a different shape. You can have triangles, you can have squares, or something a bit more organic in shape, but I'm just going to show it to you on a simple circle. And now I'm just going to drag it to the sides. I'm going to make it a bit bigger. You can see that the margin is shown in this one. So I can add all the different colors of the bullet points. And then if I save it as a PNG with the transparent background, I'll be able to quickly add it to my stories and use it for any other different purposes. And of course, this is a circle, so we'll have more applications than just the bullet. So I like to keep a few different options, color options, saved in my album, which I've shown you a moment ago. And this means that I can create all the different shapes in Instagram, and it makes designing in the Instagram app a bit better. And now I'm going to go to that thumbnail view again, duplicate that page a few times, and then go back to each of the circles and change the color. And that way I have the exact same size for all of the different elements, so they don't change that much, and I can just adjust them in the app. All right, so we have those different elements, and of course, they're not really positioned correctly. On Canva desktop, what you would do, you would just drag your mouse over to select all the different elements, but how do you select it on Canva app? Well, if you drag the screen, that's just going to create that other page, which I've shown you before. So in order to select any of the elements, what you need to do is to hold one of the elements. You'll see the one element selected notice pop up. And now what you want to do is to just keep tapping all the other elements, and you'll see the count of the elements selected. In my case, it's 5. Now, another trick that I've shared before, but I really love to use it, I use it all the time, is to go to position and to choose the tidy up option. And what that does is that just arranges them neatly, one right next to the other. And the only thing that it takes into consideration is the first element and the last one. So just make sure that these are in the correct position. I'm just going to group them, and then I'm going to just center them to make sure that they're in the correct position. What I'm going to do now is to go and save it. Again, PNG with a transparent background. You don't necessarily need transparent background for this particular tip, but I'm going to save it in the same album, and I'm going to show you how to actually apply it in Instagram stories. Now, I'm in the Instagram app, and I've actually recorded a short story from where we're filming just now. So I'm just going to add some captions to it from the sticker in here, just like that. And as you can see, this looks a bit blah. It's not really, it's not my color, and I could use something from the color picker, but this is the tip that I want to share with you. So if I just go to that sticker in here, and I'm just going to pull up that image that I've just saved from Canva, this has all my colors saved. So if I now go to those captions and pick the color from the background, just like that, you can see that it stays on brand. So I can choose all the different types in here. I can have the highlight in my color, just like that. So this is a cool way to actually stay on brand, whether you're in here on stories, whether you're creating reels as well. And it's super simple with the Canva app, because you don't have to drag your images, to Google Drive or anywhere else. It's just there on your phone. And from here, you can just delete that sticker. You can just move it to trash, and this is your branded story. You can add all the different elements that I've shown you before. So again, you go to the sticker, you'll be able to add the bullet points like this. You can create some different types of kind of designs. This is how I use my bullet points as well. So it's quite a fun option to be able to design in Canva and just put it straight into Instagram. Another tip on a Canva Pro feature that you can still access from the Canva app is to just schedule posts on the go. And let's say I have this quote in here, something that I've created, inspiration struck. I was just traveling, created that quote, and I want to put it into motion straight away, not just to post it because I maybe have some posts planned for today, but I want to schedule it for later. To do that, go to that button at the top, scroll here from this panel, and find the schedule button. And again, this is a pro option, but from here, you can schedule your post for any other day. I'm just going to hit that, change the timing for it, let's say to 10 o'clock, go for next. And from here, you can select a channel. And as you can see, if you connect your Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, LinkedIn, whatever you want to post it to, you'll be able to do it from that content scheduler. You can flesh out the caption in here, keep your inspiration flowing, and this way you have more content created, whether you're traveling on a train, whether you're standing in a queue. This is how you can create content whenever the inspiration hits. And that's why I've said having the Canva app in your pocket at all times just makes that content creation process so much easier. But of course, it's great for any other purposes. If you see some inspiring poster, you can always go straight to Canva and start designing something very similar. This is how you can keep yourself in that creative mode all the time. If you want to learn more about Canva and go more in depth, check out this comprehensive Canva tutorial, which is perfect for a beginner. And when you feel like you're more comfortable with Canva and want to know some cool hacks, you can try out my top 20 Canva tips and tricks to make your workflow even faster and discover some features you might not have heard about before. Hit that like button and let me know in the comment what other Canva tutorial you'd like me to create next. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.